days of like fathers.
Have you any idea
This
what
is
women
wonderful.
have been through?
We do.
Have you any idea what women
Yes,
have
we
been
do.
through for the last 5,000 years?
Rubbish.
How about what men have been through for the last 5,000 years, you know, due to life on Earth? I mean, you're saying, oh yeah, every single woman throughout history.
Do you know?
This is not about a battle of the sexes,
Women have always
That's
been
a laugh.
victims. They're victims.
It has
now,
been
and
a war.
They're always going to be
And the men
victims.
haven't come to
And
the
that's
war.
all they can aspire to. That's all they can be.
You are not my enemy, and I am not your enemy.
I would say feminism is men's enemy.
And
No,
women's as
I
well.
do.
feminism is patriarchy's enemy. Patriarchy.
And patriarchy.
Patriarchy is humanity's
not men.
enemy.
What's your bag in my letter? Because we got people round it.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
saying that.
Patriarchy is being ruled over by probably God the Father.
And the people who bloody benefited from the patriarchy the most are women. Women who benefited from the patriarchy more than anybody.
Patriarchy is a political construct, as is a belief in a male God.
So how can you hate God for being a man and not
I'm not
existing at the same
hating
time?
God for being a man. I don't believe in God, sweetheart.
That's
Neither
exactly
do I
what he's
believe
saying,
in a
like.
goddess.
She wants to be God.
So I don't believe in a patriarchy, I don't believe in a matriarchy, I don't believe in a God, and I don't believe in a goddess, okay? I believe that we should all be humanists. First, before I'm a feminist, I am a humanist.
Well, a humanist doesn't sound very much like feminism to me.
Too bad.
And it was very interesting, and I'm very grateful of you to just laugh at what Fathers for Justice, what a lot of those guys went through. And it is good. No, you hang on, because you don't really know anything about this.
I do.
Fathers for Justice.
I do know about
It's
Fathers for
people who sit on
Justice.
the roofs of the houses of
And
Parliament.
why do you think they
You
do
have
that?
no idea what they're doing in
A
Australia.
man doing that, do you think he's right to look after a kid? I mean, I'm dreading the day when one of them takes their kids
No,
up
they
there.
do.
Oh
For
God!
your attention.
Hold on a minute. You don't. They're doing that because they're protesting, and like I just said, you don't know what you're talking about.
There's other ways to protest.
No, there isn't. No, there
That
isn't.
gets them on the 6 o'clock news. That's how one man can get on the 6 o'clock news, by climbing the Houses of Parliament or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's
Happy
quite
in my
hard to get
body
on the news otherwise. That's
Quite
just the way
hard,
they do it.
quite hard climbing.
Does-
I had a son.
Yeah.
I gave birth. I'm a mother.
And
I'm happy.
may I
as a
ask you a
woman.
question? Did you allow your son to meet his father?
I'm not happy.
Did you allow your son to meet his father?
No, I'm not depressed.
Did you allow your son to meet his father?
Oh boy.
Did you allow your son to meet him? And did he get to have a relationship with his dad?
No, because his dad never knew that he was a dad.
Well, that's disgraceful.
What is exactly is disgraceful.
No, the fact that that he didn't know that the boy was
Wasn't
his
my
son.
fault.
Why not?
Well, because we could see ships in the night, and then he pissed off back to us to America, and I never even got his name because I was at Glastonbury Rock Festival, and we'd had a bit of a spliff, and he was a musician and I was a musician, and we didn't talk much.
Oh, haven't you heard? You know, there's contraception, and did he pay? Did he pay
I
for the
was
boy?
on contraception.
Did he pay for the boy?
He didn't know that he was a father. How
Oh,
could
okay.
he pay
Oh, that's
for somebody
true.
who didn't
Yes,
exist?
that's
he
true.
didn't know existed.
Yeah.
It was me.
So
So am I?
you found he's come back.
We did, yeah,
Excuse me. So am I to be punished because the radical lesbian feminists punish me for not having abortion? The pro-lifers.
If I'd known.
The pro-lifers applaud me, but the radical lesbian feminists say that I am their enemy for bringing a male child into the world.
Well, thank you,
Not
that's
having
true.
an abortion.
Yeah, well, that's what a lot of them
So
would
I-
say.
yes.
Now, do you know why we don't like
But
them?
I am not one of
But
those.
there's no men. You'd be very lucky to ever. You wouldn't meet a men's rights person to say that you should actually abort a little girl. And yet these radical feminists say if it's a little boy, you've got to
I
abort
don't.
him.
I don't.
No, I know you don't. I know you don't.
Because I believe that all life is sacred.
Good.
All life.
Well, this is it. But these hold
I'm
on.
a humanist first and a feminist
Well, good.
second.
But these other radical feminists thought that the boy was disgraceful, and so they should.
Well, that's your experience.
No,
of
no, I
radical
was talking
feminism,
about
that's
yes.
not mine.
But what I'm saying is this is why we don't like feminists, because
We,
it's quite
the
common.
royal we.
No, us and men's
you
rights
have
people.
made your cultural
All
identity.
extreme.
The
One minute,
royal
I'm
we.
only for a moment. All extreme radicalism is insane.
Yes.
True.
That's why
Yes.
feminism is insane.
Yeah,
And
but
these
she is
guys-
not extreme.
I'm
She's
not.
radical, but she's
You
not
are extreme.
No.
Radical,
you
No.
are.
extreme radical. There is a very great.
I might seem extreme, but we only do.
Rights
Okay.
is
We're all of it.
extreme.
It's not.
Radical.
It's
yes,
not.
it is.
It's got to be one of the most gentle, bloody movements there's ever been.
Well, I tell you what, it wasn't gentle
I
to
have
me.
a question. I have a question. You were saying that the goddess didn't exist. Goddess didn't
It
exist.
did exist as a construct. Yes.
Okay, but in reality it doesn't. So why do you have a badge saying neighbourhood witch? Why are you supporting a religion
Because
based
it's a
upon something that
joke.
doesn't exist?
It's not a religion.
It's a joke.
It's a joke. In here, in this country, we have something called Neighbourhood Watch.
Oh,
And instead of having your Neighbourhood Watch, I am
Neighbourhood
declaring
witch.
myself the Neighbourhood Witch. And a witch, W-I-T-C-H,
Yeah.
translates as a woman in total charge or control of herself.
Very well
Okay,
spoken.
So we've
Very well spoken.
With a whole load of these
Very well spoken.
fathers for
Now
justice.
there's an
signs.
elder statesman.
Elder
and
now,
he or
yeah.
she's with
True,
me.
I'm
Thank
afraid.
you.
Oh, I think he's on his last legs after you said that.
With the fathers
I
for
said
justice men, they're basically saying
And did
that
we
they
not
want,
have Wicca and Wiccan under our pagan? Was our not our indigenous religion of this planet before the Romans came?
Yeah, we would have had several.
Paganism.
It was.
Right, and part of that was priestesses and priests.
And it was quite
Druids
cruel.
and druidesses.
Quite cruel as well.
Wicca and Wicca.
And sacrifices.
Yes, and
Wicca men.
folklore.
Human sacrifice.
Right? Folklore
Folklore.
for the common folk people.
Yeah. And
Oral
also,
tradition that was handed down by mouth.
and probably murderous warfare
By the
between the
bards
tribes.
and the bardesses. By the bards.
Sounds very romantic.
That's why we still
I'm
have
not
the
sure it was in
Ice
reality.
Dead God in Wales.
So
do we
with
not?
I don't
fathers
think
for
that-
justice,
right.
I mean, one of
That
the
is
problems
why
with
we
that
still
is
have
that,
the Ice Dead
you
God
have
in
all of these
Wales.
men who are being denied access to their children, who are most of the time pretty good fathers, and it's because the divorce industry, the family court system, is saying that oh yeah, well, if the woman decides to have the kids, if she wants to take the house, if she wants to basically ruin his life, take half of the fortune and the kids and run away, then that's okay. And how do you defend that?
Right, how I would
it's an evil
okay.
system, and
Yeah, it is an evil system, I agree.
and it's an anti-male evil system, and it's been caused by radical feminism.
It hasn't been caused by radical feminism. It is an evil system, I agree.
Do you know why we?
It is an equal thing because it's not equal, right? It is not equal.
Yes.
Okay? Now, however, what has happened is that now there's a feminist backlash. And in Australia, they are rolling out fathers' rights.
Yes.
And I have a personal story to tell you about fathers' rights in Australia and how it has been state sanctioned by the state.
Okay.
To prevent a little girl from leaving the country. She is a product of an English mother and an Australian father.
And the mother wants to go
And
home.
that little girl, no, that little girl has, I can't speak about this on film. Something terrible has happened to that little girl whilst in the care of her father. Right? I can't make any accusations.
Okay, well then,
I'm
stop
not
then.
naming any names, but while she was in the care of her father, either he or his friends, something terrible happened to her, of the very, very worst kind, and she was under 3 years old. Now, the state, the Crown Prosecution Service, cannot prosecute that man because of lack of evidence. The child is too young to give evidence, although she has been to a child psychologist and disclosed what happened to her with dolls under play, right?
But you know-
Now, okay, so he is innocent until proven guilty under the law, yes? And he has asserted his father's rights under the law to have access to his child. And because he can have access under supervision, the child's passports, both English, British and Australian passports, have been requisitioned by the Australian state.
How do you
To
know we did
prevent
anything wrong?
that mother,
Because
I
she hasn't
don't
been
know.
proven guilty.
But
How
you
do know
very,
the mum's not lying.
you very strongly
Because I
assume.
know the mother is not lying. because she happens to be a very close friend of mine.
But often
and
is
she is
Let us
the
assume
grandmother
she's
of
not.
that child.
Let us assume she's not lying, because I think we all realise she probably is not lying.
how, no, we don't. No, we don't.
lie.
Well,
No,
I
we
assume she's... This
Well,
lady
you
has-
assume-
No, this lady has told the truth throughout since I've
I
been
am not
standing
making
here.
any
She is not
accusations
a liar
against
by
that mind.
nature.
You have made an accusation
No, I'm
against
not.
him. You've just said that the child was abused, basically.
I have not said
Well, you
that.
meant that. You meant
I
that.
didn't speak those words.
No, you didn't.
I said, that
I said
she
those
has
words.
been assessed
Us.
by a child psychologist.
And do you know how
by a
nutty?
professional,
Do you know
and
how
they say, yes,
nutty
she
some of
has.
these psychologists are? And most of the psychology, those people are feminists as well, and they see everything through the patriarchy lens as well. And there's been a lot of corrupt
Well,
psychologists
she's been
and
abused by
psychiatrists.
somebody
You believe that?
from her own lips, a 3-year-old.
And you
Yes.
know how often it gets put into the mouths of children by people who want that?
Oh my
It
God.
does.
And that's exactly what the father is saying.
I bet you
that
he
the
did.
mother and the grandmother are both nutty feminists.
And they may be right. He may be right. Or he may be wrong. They may be the wrong thing. This is the thing. This is what courts are for. And this is why it's so emotive trying
You
to
know what
prove
I think?
things like that.
I
What?
think that in Australia, because this child was conceived from the loins of a good Aussie man, right? They consider that child one of their own,
Rubbish.
right? They consider it one of
Australia
their own.
is one
And
of
they
the most
will not-
feminist countries as well, like all the rest of the
Oh,
Western
yes,
countries.
That's why
Yes,
they
it
just
is.
got rid of their first female prime minister.
No, she was
after
voted
a
out.
few months.
Because she was rubbish.
Because she gave up because she was being verbally abused.
She was not.
Every single time, like anyone
She couldn't
challenges
go.
her,
Another load
she
of
blames her
patriarchal
misogyny.
bullshit.
What? But if
It's because she did the same thing you're doing. Every
Because of
time she was challenged,
misogyny.
she
Rubbish.
kept on saying the word misogyny.
Both saying it's
And so
misogyny.
that wasn't good enough for a
Rubbish.
leader.
She
When-
was not another
Margaret Thatcher
She
could.
was a Welsh woman from Wales.
What was she doing, being the Prime Minister of Australia then? Was it the sheep?
Well, what are you doing in New Zealand in the first place?
I'm not in New Zealand. My family's from here, and I've been here for
All
years.
New Zealanders and Australians are from here, darling.
Yes, I know.
Or Ireland.
Or most of them, yeah. Or Scotland.
Maybe not the Aborigines.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. A few other.
Descendant from convicts, most of them, or some of them.
No, that's Australia. That's Australia. But that's only.
Another issue.
Yeah, but see, don't you see?
Another patriarchal
See,
issue.
do you know?
actually.
Don't you?
Everything's patriarchal.
See, don't you realise?
Everything.
Yeah, like every single sentence.
Hold on,
It's all
hold
about
on.
how men are evil and
No,
they've always
not
been
men.
evil. And, yeah.
Not
No.
men.
Now
You
listen
haven't
to
got
me.
it. You
No,
still
you're
haven't
right.
got
She
it.
did tell you earlier.
No, I will, 'cause I'm not that far off.
You are still not got it.
Listen to. Now listen to me.
The what do you call it? The system. The system.
Yes,
Now
political
listen,
With
system.
men
I wanna-
as leaders.
Let me have a
What?
time.
Okay,
Let me have a
sorry.
time. Now, this is what I'll say. Now, the victim narrative. First of all, you said the Prime Minister of Australia, because of all the misogyny, she was chased out of it. Now, when you
From
become
both women and men. by the
absolute
way.
rubbish,
Both women and
when you
men.
become the Prime Minister, you get hell. You get treated quite badly. She obviously wasn't up to it. Now, there's Edwina Curry, who's in Britain. She said to one of the main feminists, it might have been horrible Harriet Harman. She might have said to her, it was probably her or another one, she said, why aren't you the Prime Minister? The truth is more women are voting than men vote, and it's been like that for bloody decades. Why are they not voting for a woman to be the Prime Minister? Why aren't women going for it? They blame men, they blame men, they blame men, but they don't do it.
No, they
Stop
don't.
blaming men.
They do not.
Oh no, they're blaming the patriarchy.
They blame-
Same
No,
thing.
they are not. They are blaming the fact that it is incredibly difficult in this country to become an MP, a female MP, and
No, it isn't.
and be a mother.
They roll over to her. They roll over for them. They roll over.
There is no crash in the Houses of Commons just now.
5 years.
Well then.
5 years. It's taken that long.
Well, what do you
get
want to
a
be? Having a child's a choice. If you want to be a politician, be a politician. If you want to be a mum,
And
be
I
a
could
mum.
say, if you want to be a father, be a father. And if you want to be a politician, be a politician.
But who wants to look after the child?
50-50.
Yeah, but women don't want
Parenthood.
that. Women block fathers,
Bollocks.
they gatekeep.
Yes, they do want that.
They don't want that.
Yes, they do.
They say they do, but when it comes to it, they don't want anyone else. One of the early, in
spending time with their
1970s, one of the early feminists said, she had a women's group, and she said, as soon as she said to the women, it's time that we dealt with this, so we had equal looking after them. I'm shouting to get over his voice.
Exactly. Quite right.
You be quiet.
But
To go, what they did, and all the women said, no one else is looking after my child except me. And of course, that was the 70s. Things have changed, but a lot of women totally gatekeep against the father having any say, and they block the father from seeing his child, and often they turn the child against the father. When they do so. What? Am I that far off?
so what about boys that are turned against their mothers?
That's rare.
about them?
That's rare. And a lot of
What
boys,
about them?
hate their mothers because of the way their mothers treat them.
And a lot of girls hate their mothers as
They
well.
do so.
You know why I hated mine?
Why?
Because she was a patriarchal woman, that's why.
That doesn't make any sense.
What doesn't make any sense?
That she was a patriarchal woman.
was.
She believed in her
She
husband.
believed in marriage.
And what's wrong with
She
that?
believed in her body. Her identity as a woman, right, depended on her sexual attraction to men.
Yeah. Can I say, I can imagine that it would be frustrating for you if she was traditional and expected you to get married. And a lot of older women will find that.
Yes,
that was
she
the case.
did. That's why
Don't
she
people
hated
enjoy
me.
being attracted to
And
that?
That's why she hated me, because
On the
I
same sex,
refused
yeah.
to get
And
married.
I will give that to you, because that is what a lot of women faced at the time. And often it was the mother who did it. And when we look at the decisions made in the family, and they always blame the patriarchy, often it's the mother. When we look at horrendous forced marriages, which, by the way, men are forced into marriages too, and women, it's often the mother who's behind it, not the father. Or they use the father as a tool to do it.
Ruled over by the father.
No,
Yes.
it's her will. The will of the mother often goes over families.
So now we're getting to a battle of wills.
But there's often a battle
so the battle
of
of
wills.
sexes is a battle of wills.
No, you can't. No, they're ours. We're going to use them
A
after.
battle of the sexes, then, is a battle of wills. And a battle of wills
let her
is
finish.
about being either willing, the right use of will is either
No, don't let 'em have it.
about